everybody, and it is time for another So Rare show. So myself and Neil Orfield, the flannel god himself, we are going to be breaking down today's, not today's So Rare slate, the upcoming So Rare slate. And this is going to encapsulate the start of the playoffs. It's going to cover the play-in games. So there's going to be some interesting stuff to talk about. And by the way, this slate covers the entire week. So it's going to be starting on Tuesday. I mean, for all intents and purposes, you could say it starts today. The reason it doesn't, because there's no basketball games today. So we've got games that are going to be starting for the play-in on Tuesday. This is going to be Tuesday's games, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the rest of the week, covering it all here. It's going to include Neil's favorite team, the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we're in all kinds of disarray right now. Neil, what is your mindset going to this play-in game? How do you feel about your Timberwolves? What's happening here?
I feel horrible about Jaden McDaniels, one of our best young players. I think arguably the best on-ball defender in the entire NBA. Breaks his hand going into the locker room at halftime. Just give me a break here. And then Rudy Gobert, it's a mess. It's hard to be really excited about this team. Of course, it was a huge win yesterday. That was exciting, but how excited can I really be about this team when we're down two starters? We still have, we do still have Ant, we still have Cat. So I love that. Mike says second best. Give me a break. Come on. It's Jaden McDaniels all day. But it's going to be a tough sledding for the Timberwolves. Hopefully they can get this win in LA and then get that 5-day break before the playoffs start on Sunday, because it'll be rough. If they lose tomorrow and then have to play again on Friday, it's going to be tough sledding for the Wolves.
Yeah, and going to be interesting too, some of the decision points we make, because if I'm not mistaken, there's an angle here where certain players could potentially be playing extra games, right? If you took a guy from the Timberwolves like Anthony Edwards, and if they lose the first play-in game, you're getting 2 games out of these guys. So I don't know how much we're going to want to think about that as we set lineups, but it is at least a possibility here, is that in a weird way, you kind of want your players to lose the first game because they have, obviously, if they just go nuts and have a ceiling game in the first game, it doesn't matter. But there's a little advantage to be had in potentially looking at the Timberwolves and just thinking all right, are they going to maybe lose their first game? And how does that impact, them going forward? And does that mean we get an extra game out of them? What is your confidence level that they win at least one of these 2 games though, Neil?
My confidence level, 0. I'm not confident at all that they're going to win one of these. I hope that they will. I think that I think it's more likely than not that they do win one of these 2 games, but I can't say that I'm confident that they do. So, I think that they'll make it into the playoffs. It's tough though. I think this Lakers game, they're clearly going to be the underdog there with no Jaden McDaniels, no Rudy. I think that whoever they play in the second game from the 9 and 10 seeds, they're going to have a pretty good shot against, especially if we do get Gobert back. Gobert also was playing with a hurt back, I think, yesterday. So it's, if he comes back, maybe this might actually be good for him if he comes back after a little bit more rest, this suspension. I think that he just suspended 1 game. The news just coming in. That is my impression.
Yeah, we didn't really, it just is suspended and he's not going to play tomorrow. We didn't get news beyond that though.
1 game. Oh, by Timberwolves, not NBA. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's expected to return.
Even yesterday, though, it wasn't like the refs kicked him out of the game. It wasn't like the NBA kicked. It was the Timberwolves who were like, dude, get the fuck out of here. We're not, you're not punching your teammates on the bench. Do you think you are Bobby Portis? It's not something we typically see, but it was the Timberwolves who ended up sending Rudy Gobert home. And it does seem like it is Gobert who is being suspended by the team here. But that's official. Only 1 game.
Well, that's the latest. So the Timberwolves only suspended him from 1 game. Whether the NBA steps in and suspends him for another, I don't think they will. So the expectation I think right now, based on the latest tweets I've seen, is that he just misses 1 game.
Yeah. Either way, I would say if anybody has cards of him in So Rare, you probably don't want to play Rudy Gobert for the upcoming slate because you do run into the issue where, let's say the Timberwolves win tomorrow, and then you get into this scenario where okay, well now you don't get any Rudy Gobert, so not somebody we'd really be considering, but. Let's talk about the front court situation for Minnesota a little bit here and players that we might want to consider targeting on the secondary market. So this is your team here, Neil. There's no Rudy Gobert. There's no Naz Reid. There's no Jaden McDaniels. None of these players are going to be available. Is there anybody here that we should look at in the front court as being a cheap player to look at on So Rare to maybe try to buy cards of and build lineups around?
Okay, Mike, can you check the price on Karl-Anthony Towns? Because I think Cat is a player that I've been thinking about targeting.
Yeah, no, that would, and I assume Cat's going to be fairly cheap, right?
Yeah. And when I say price, I guess I really mean last 10 average on Karl-Anthony Towns because he's been working his way back into minutes. So I kind of think that Cat is going to be a good deal here. Also going to want to check Kyle Anderson. I assume he's going to get a bump in minutes and production with no Gobert and Jaden McDaniels for this first game. He'd be one of the first players I check. Hang on, let me pin this so I can see what it says.
Yeah, I'm trying to make
see,
it bigger.
I can't read what the last 10 right above the K in Karl Anthony Towns there, below the
like
card.
33.
Oh yeah, sign me up for that. That's a great one. That's a great buy right now. Because Cat, I mean, without Gobert and without Jade McDaniels, he's just gonna gobble up so many boards on top of being a big scoring threat. So yeah, Cat is he's gonna project really well relative to a 32.
Yeah, and that is why I totally am on board with you. So we don't have our Sorare projections up quite yet, which will happen. Usually a slate starts on Monday, not the case this week, but we have projections that are totally free. They are going to be available in probably sometime later tonight, tomorrow afternoon. And that is going to, although with that said, it's not like the projections would have helped us all that much for this particular situation anyway, because it just broke. But yeah, we've got these over at stochastic.com. If you guys go to our website, you look at the NBA page, and then you look at the free tools. We do have projections. And also, if you guys are signing up at Sorare for the first time, it's totally free. And use our link when you sign up, because if you purchase 5 limited player cards, get a 6th one totally for free over at Sorare. So if you wanted to buy a Karl Anthony Towns, you get yourself set up for the play-in tournament and all the contests we have at Sorare for this week. Cat looks like a player that we want to target. I totally do agree with Neil on that. And then who else should we be looking at from the Minnesota front court? I'm just kind of looking through and trying to figure out what the front court minutes could be. Like, are they going to have to play Luka Garza decent minutes now? Because look at who's available. What did the second half rotation look like last game? Let's pull up some of these minutes.
It's a good question.
Right,
I think Kyle Anderson is the next player that I would be checking with Jaden McDaniels out.
Yeah,
I mean, he started the second half when Gobert was out for the second half of the last game.
Yeah, and I guess they don't have to go to a traditional center. Garza didn't crack the rotation last game because they have Karl Anthony Towns. He could just slide Cat back into the center spot. So that makes sense. Kyle Anderson, what's that price there?
34.
Oh, wow. So Kyle Anderson's kind of already up there. Which I guess makes sense because he had those big games when, Cat was already out and then other players missed time. Remember, Edwards was out for a little bit there. So, yeah, 34 for Kyle Anderson. That's probably more of a pass for me.
What is Taurean Prince's price?
There's another good call. So Taurean Prince, and I'm looking at the rotations from last game. 14. All right.
It's probably a little meat on the bone.
So the other thing also that I think we have to consider about this Sorare slate as compared to some other ones, not quite the same pricing value available. This isn't going to be like these slates that we had down the stretch of the regular season where, there was like a dozen to 2 dozen players every slate where it's like, oh, look, this guy's projected for 30 fantasy points and his price is 3 as his last 10 average. We're not going to have that. Taurean Prince at 14, I think, is definitely a serviceable value. And, we're going to have teams running tighter rotations. We're not going to have key players other than if they punch a teammate ruled out prior to these play-in games or playoff games. So it's going to be a lot harder to find value. And there's just such a limited pool, right? We got 2 games on Tuesday, 2 games on Wednesday. So with that in mind, Prince, I think, is another guy who makes sense.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, another guy too. I think in general, here's where I think we could potentially find some value here, Neil. Players who heading into the play-in game could be playing extended minutes that maybe didn't play quite as many minutes in the regular season or down the stretch. So what is the price point on Mike Conley? He's right there.
14?
Oh, Mike Conley?
That can't be right. Oh, 34.
Okay, yeah, never mind. 34.
Yeah, that's not as much. I mean, Cat to me is the clear standing out from this so far.
Yeah, so but he ended up playing 0 minutes yesterday. A little bit too risky for me.
Yeah,
a little bit too risky.
It is like if Cat gets in foul trouble or something.
Yeah,
playing against Anthony Davis still needs somebody who can guard him. So maybe Garza gets in there, but definitely a risk there. What is the price tag there, Mike? Oh yeah, so there's
definitely not
asking a lot.
Yeah, Taurean Prince would be the guy there if we're going to that price point because Prince was 14.
Absolutely. The other aspect that we need to consider right now is, so these contests starting this week are both for this week, but then there's also a playoff contest going in where every week, like whatever lineup you put in, it's cumulative. So week to week, you add up your scores, which makes this a little bit more fun right now. Is having these playoffs. Mike, can you actually show the playoff structure for this? So if we go to like limited champion, and we can check out what the prizes are, because I think that's a kind of a cool wrinkle here. Is you might want to start thinking about purchasing, like, maybe you're not a believer in the Timberwolves, you don't want to buy all the Timberwolves bench players, but I think since we're going all the way through the playoffs, think about who you think is going to make it to the championship game, and think about who could potentially have value that, like, right now you're not playing some of these guys, like I don't know, Bruce Brown, or Bruce Brown's probably not the best example because my guess is he's already priced up a little bit, but there might be some players like on the Nuggets or the Bucks that don't get a ton of minutes, but like, and aren't likely to, obviously, in the championship either, but like at that point, any kind of points you can get are valuable. So maybe one more wrinkle there. If you click on the playoffs tab there.
Yeah, I know it's on the landing page too. If you just go over to Sorare, the first thing it brings you to is to the rules of the playoff contest. So you'll see it right there on screen. I don't know if it's as blurry for the audience as it is for us, but I mean, we're looking
Right.
at it through
Couple
through
filters
Mike's
here.
computer, through Zoom, and the stuff always shows up blurry here.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us to read on our end, but I assume it's probably a little bit clearer for the people. All right, cool.
Okay.
Everyone except for Neil and I.
Yeah.
Which is fine because we're it's no big deal. It's no big deal. Like I know what it is, so it's not like I have to read it right now. But just so people are aware, if you want to know or you want to reference what the rules are for the Sorare playoff contest, they're available right there on the Sorare site. And that is something I think we could discuss here as well, Neil, and then we'll build one of your lineups out after we're done talking through this. But players to target through the playoffs so we think could be making long runs. I have a player off the top of my head that I think is the best player for people to target right now. And it's somebody who's already in your collection, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Durant's price, not that exorbitant heading into the playoffs. If I remember correctly, he's right around 40 as his last 10 average, because he had those games where he was ramping up, coming back from the knee injury. And then, of course, we had some games down the stretch of the season where players were playing limited minutes because of the game just being irrelevant. So now we got this scenario where Kevin Durant's priced down for various reasons. He's not going to be limited in the playoffs. The Suns are expected to make a playoff run. I think they're going to anyway. I think they're pretty likely to make it past the first round. That was a great card you pulled the other day when we were doing our show. And Kevin Durant, would you agree that he's one of the ideal players to pay up for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny to me. Like, I look on some of the sites, like 538. I'm looking at the championship odds. They only have the Suns with a 10% chance of making the finals. I feel like that, like, a lot of places seem to have that, but the general consensus, I think, of the crowd, if you look at like best ball drafts, has been clearly everybody feels better about the Suns than the odds do there. So I think those Suns teams, it's a lot of volatility there because they haven't played together very long, but they're such a talented team that I think everybody can see, like, it wouldn't shock any of us if they make the championship. So yeah, I think Kevin Durant, especially with that meat on the bone, absolutely a great pickup.
Yeah. So the biggest issue I have with the 538 projections, I think the individual player projections are pretty solid. They weigh defense a little bit too heavily. So you get these players who will be terrible offensive players, but are good defensive players like Matisse Thybulle. And then Thybulle rate out as like one of the best players in the NBA, according to 538. The same happens with like Alex Caruso. So that's one little flaw in it. But in terms of their futures projections, one thing that's definitely an issue for them is that they're terrible at setting rotations. So the Suns have a lot of talent, but they're not particularly deep. So one issue that 538 has that's downgrading the Suns, and a reason why, if you guys are referencing 538 and you're considering it for best ball drafts or for who you want to get in Sorare, is that they don't have the core players for the Suns projected for a ton of minutes. And if Devin Booker's projected for 32 minutes, the downside of that is now there's like, oh, Ish Wainwright is projected to be in the playoff rotation for the Phoenix Suns. And it's guys like that where if you just give their minutes to Devin Booker, the team would look significantly better. And it's not necessarily that they don't think the Suns are good. It's that they're not projecting the Suns core guys for enough minutes. And then it's just these not so great bench players that are weighing down the overall average of the Suns. Like, I would be stunned if Devin Booker is playing 32 minutes per game throughout the playoffs, which is what they have him projected for right now.
Yeah, obviously the stars are going to get more of a boost in minutes during the playoffs. We've seen Memphis already like gearing up for the playoffs, has already been giving their stars a few more minutes so that they're going to be ready to play extended minutes in the playoffs. Yeah, I think that's accurate. We can expect teams that don't play their players like the Knicks are not going to get any kind of boost because they're already playing 40 minutes a game. But like some other teams, we're going to see boosts in playing time for the stars.
So one of the reasons that the Boston Celtics, who by the way, the Celtics, I think this is a team that we could target some of their players for the playoff contest. One guy I like that I think should be playing extended minutes going to the playoffs, who's a good fantasy producer when he gets the minutes from Boston, Time Lord Robert Williams. I think he's somebody we could definitely look at. But something else about the projections in 538 for the Celtics, which once again, I do think is not a bad baseline to look at when trying to figure out which players you might want to target for this contest. The Celtics are one of the only teams that they actually projected the minutes reasonably for the top end players. So they've got Tatum playing 40. They've got Jaylen Brown playing 37 in the playoffs compared to a team like the Bucks where they have Chris Middleton projected to play 26 minutes in the playoffs, which is just not what he's going to play. Right. So that's one of the reasons the Celtics also rise to the top is their minutes are projected properly, which is not the case for all of these teams. But could you pull up, Mike, Robert Williams really quick? I want to see what his price is because I think that he's somebody who his last 10 average is not going to be representative of what his actual upside is. And he's somebody I definitely want to buy low on heading into the playoffs, right? He's somebody who I would expect his last 10 average to go up. Robert Williams, what's that number? Yeah, 23 is very cheap for Robert Williams. So Robert Williams is somebody that I'd definitely be considering to get to save some salary and build lineups with. But we've got a few minutes left here, Neil. And if you guys haven't done it, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's build out one of your lineups with the players that you have available. And, right now, things are going to change. There's still more information we need. Projections are going to be updated. But let's see what you have in your collection right now and what we could use to build a lineup based on that.
Yeah. I didn't buy any new cards for today, sadly. So I don't have the cat. I don't have the Torian Prince.
It's all good. And we can, obviously, you could change this afterwards. You're not committed.
That's till tomorrow. Yeah.
Myself and the audio. Oh, you got a reward to claim as well.
I do. Do you want to, maybe it's Robert Williams. Maybe we should do that.
Oh, yeah. It could be somebody we could use in your lineup. Do you remember what
It's not good, Greg.
Oh, it's not good?
It was this is one that I set during a show where I was like, I couldn't update so. All right. Tier 4. That could be Robert. He's probably tier 3. I don't know what he is. Yeah, let's give it a shot, though.
Tier 4 could be where he's at now.
Yeah, it's irrelevant.
No. Kelly. Oh, wow. Kelly Olynyk's tier 4. Not going to do any good in the playoffs.
It would be a great pick if I got this a week ago. This might have been.
Yeah.
Or maybe a month ago. Might have been something.
Yeah. Doesn't matter here. The Jazz are done for the year, but these cards also do have multi-year usability. So you're going to be able to use Olynyk next year. But either way, not going to help us here. So let's go build out the lineup now. And which you want to click on heading into the playoffs?
Let's do the limited champion where we get the MVP spot.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what you have in here. So AD, Embiid, Ingram, LeBron. Got the Durant in there. So my initial feelings here is that we probably want to start with, actually, let's scroll all the way down because I'm curious which cheap guys you have, because how much money we have to spend up, it's going to be different for this relative to some of the other slates.
Good point.
All the ineligible players. So we're not going to be going, like a lot of these guys aren't even going to be in the rotation.
Right. Oh, Torian Prince, I do have.
Oh, you got a Torian Prince.
Ooh.
Oh, you got 2 Torian Princes.
Yeah, choose whichever one has the higher percentage boost.
Yeah. You get 2. Combine them into Torian King. All right, keep going up. Sharp, no. Love is a maybe. Gabe Vincent is a maybe. Yeah, not that many cheap guys to look at here. Yeah, I think we might have to be. We have the MVP spot, so let's go all the way to the top. And so we got Embiid, AD, Ingram, LeBron. My initial feelings, Neil, this is your lineup. So if you want to push back, you're obviously more than welcome to do so. I'll let you determine how you want to set your lineup. But I think we want AD number 1, just because we have potential for him to play more games than, say, like a Joel Embiid.
Yeah. And worst case scenario, he's playing 1 game against the Wolves without Rudy Gobert. With Karl-Anthony Towns, other centers can eat up Karl-Anthony Towns if he's playing center. So Yeah, it's a good call.
And then their series against whoever they end up playing in the next round, could that potentially start this week or no?
No, I think so. This contest is the 11th through the 16th. I think the earliest I would start is, wait, let's think. Maybe they do have like some first round games. I think are actually included. So maybe.
Either way, AD. Let's start with him.
Yeah, it's going to be. Is LeBron? What is LeBron's last 10 there, Mike?
It's fairly cheap. Yes, we're definitely putting LeBron in.
Yeah.
I was saying more for the MVP spot. I was going with
yeah, throw AD in there too.
Yeah, we'll go both of them. And then what does that leave us left for the last 2 spots?
32.
Oh, that's not bad.
32 total or 32 average?
No, 32 average.
Oh, okay.
Look at that. So we've still got the Durant.
Because of Torian Prince. That was a big help.
Yeah, so I think we should put Ant in.
I was thinking that too. Yeah.
Yeah, so we get Ant in.
I think we have to.
Yeah. So we go with Ant. And we got a little game stack
Full
here
game
as well.
stack. Yeah.
You know?
And now what do we have left?
26.
All right. Can you scroll down to
scroll down and see
who's available there?
26.
Harrison Barnes.
Maybe we do want to go up from Edwards to Durant then.
Well, let's see. Do we have anybody better available lower, Mike?
Nacho Mike? Nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not confident we do either here.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be not Biyombo. So if we go from what's the price difference between or the salary difference Edwards to Biyombo? Wait, Bam is 24?
Oh,
okay.
Adebayo.
Yeah, Bam.
Not quite enough to get to Jordan Poole there.
I don't mind that though.
Yeah, we can do that.
Edwards to Bam and then put John Collins in instead.
John Collins also, he's in a playing game, right? The Hawks?
Yep.
So potentially 2 bites.
There we go. And also, by the way, 2 game stacks now.
Yeah, true.
The Hawks and the Heat are playing against each other, and then the Lakers and the Timberwolves. Now, I mean, we're very usefully using the word stack because it's Torian Prince, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis, and then John Collins and Bam Adebayo. But either way,
I mean, you're going to need Torian Prince to have a big game for Anthony Davis and LeBron to have a big game.
Yeah, it's the only way for them to succeed.
Yeah.
But either way, I think this is a pretty decent looking lineup and pretty fun. I'm looking forward to these contests. It's fun. It introduces different strategies. We're trying to weigh, which teams could potentially be playing multiple games for this slate, considering the play-in scenarios. So if you guys check this out, it's really fun. Don't forget, if you're signing up over at Sorare for the first time, use the link we have below. It is going to get you 1 free limited player card after you purchase 5. Not going to find that deal anywhere else. So take advantage of that link below if you're signing up for the first time. As for this video, if you haven't done yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with us on a Monday afternoon. I hope you enjoyed the basketball games, and see you on all the basketball content we have coming up. Bye before lock. All that resumes as per normal on Tuesday.